Good afternoon. I'm just trying to get you on my laptop to make sure I'm in the right place. Aha, I think it's working. Just put you down here. Good afternoon, I'm Danny and this is Danny Design Studio. I'm an independent Stampin' Up demonstrator from the UK, and this week every day at 12:30 I'm doing a summertime special Facebook Live on everything summery in the new annual catalogue and the mini catalogue. And the mini catalogue actually retires on 30th of June. So today I'm using the Sand and Sea suite, as you can see here, making these two cards. And if you're watching, please say hi, ask me any questions and I'll do my best to answer them. Now, I know people work, so this video will be saved on here and you can watch on replay. And if you do catch up on replay, please type in #replay so I know who's watching, and comment also if you like. If you'd like a free catalogue, please send me your address on a private message and I will send you one in the post. So these are the cards I'm going to be making today, and I'm using products from, let's put this aside, the annual catalogue and the mini catalogue as well. So the mini catalogue is from January to June, and it actually finishes on 30th of June this month, and there's a lot of products that are actually on offer. Now I'm using quite a few of the products from here, but I actually worked all my Facebook Lives out a few weeks ago, and we only got the reduced prices on the 1st of June, so I'm using some of them, so I'll let you know what is reduced. And this is the annual catalogue if you want one. This is from May till April next year, so some really lovely products in here. So if you're interested, just please drop me a line. So this is the projects I'm using today is from the Sand and Sea suite, and that's here. So just lovely products here. So this is what I'm going to be using, the seashell bundle. So I'm using the stamp set, the embossing folder, which is that one, and the dies, these lovely opal rounds, the designer series paper, and I'm just going to show you on the first one, which is this one, is just a very simple card. Even though there's quite a lot going on here, it's actually just using the designer series paper. So we've got the card base, the papers, some twine, I've got a little stamping the punch, obviously I'm using the stamp set, and these lovely little embellishments that look a bit like water droplets. So, and then inside you've got a little insert, and I'm used a little piece of the designer series paper as well. So that's the first one. So I'm showing you that because I think it's nice to see what you can do with minimal products. So then I've got this one, which I'm going to show you how to watercolour. So this background is actually some watercolouring, and it's a beautiful shell embossing folder that actually die cuts it out as well. So I'm just stepping that card up a little bit, and inside is another insert with a bit of designer series paper. So let's get started on the first one, which is that one. So I'll put it there and then you can you can just see what I'm doing. So I'm just getting the trimmer out first. The card base I'm using is Sahara Sand, and this is a landscape card, so I'm going to score it at 14.9, so I'm going to get the cutter out the way, 14.9, score it down the middle, and then turn it round to 10.5, cut it up the top, and then put that aside so you can get 2 cards out of that. I'm going to put that there. Then getting all the lovely designer series paper, I've got some of the shells that I've already cut out, but I'm going to show you how to cut those out like a die cutter. The pink I need, and this is sort of like a sand colour, and it goes exactly with the Sahara Sand card base. So I'm just going to cut that out 1/2 centimetre smaller than the actual card base, so that will be 10 centimetres by 14.4. So just getting everything together. I've then, as you can see the card, I've got this little bit across here, so that's 3 centimetres. So I'm just going to cut that. And then to 14.4. So that's going to fit exactly across here. So the next step is to get my shells, which I'm going to show you how to cut these shells. If you didn't have a cut and emboss machine, if you didn't have any die cutting machines or anything, then you can actually just cut these out from the papers. So that's what I've done here, and I'm just going to show you. I'm going to cut this blue one out. So to do that, you want a good quality pair of scissors, something that is small, sharp, pointed at the edge, and easy to maneuver, because you want to create something similar to a die cut, which is smooth around the edges and not sharp and rough. And to do this, it's easiest to open it very wide and then move the paper rather than the scissors. And you're going to have a little white border, and again you're just having the paper so that it's small enough to maneuver as well. So you keep cutting, there we go, and that looks fairly smooth around the edges with a little white border. So you'll be happy to know I've already cut out the others. So I've got my little shells, and then what I need to do is I'm just getting all the elements together. So with my bone folder, just going to make that nice sharp crease, and then this is all going to mount onto here. So we're getting there, but we need to have a little stamping now. Bit of white card. These are the things that I'm using. I'm trying not to get the glare on you. So the friends are like seashells. Now you've got loads, 23 stamps in here, and lovely shells, lovely sentiments. These little blobs, looks like blobs, but they're actually got texture in them, and this will colour in that stamp. Same with that and these other shells. So that's what that's for. And then the next one I'm using this embossing folder and the die cut. Now these are the sentiments in here, so I'm going to use the same one I've done on there because it goes with my punch, which I've got here, the rectangular postage stamp punch. So just going to mount this onto a block. And I've stamped that in crumb cake. Very similar to Sahara stand, but crumb cake is slightly darker. So mount that, or stamp that onto here. And then pop it into my punch. So if you, that's how the punch is going to come out, but if you turn it upside down, it's easier to see that you're doing it, and you're doing it central. So need to adjust this and cut it a little bit. Right, so then you can see exactly where you're going to punch it. So when you're happy, oops, that's it. So you've got your little sentiments, so it's all coming together. You need some dimensionals, and what we need to do is mount this all, put it all on, and then we're going to put it on our card because we want the twine to go around it. So I'm ready to put it all together. Get my glue. And then before I put all the seashells on, I'm going to put my twine on. So twine is going to go with the bow to one side. So there we go. And with this you can adjust the bow as well. If you want it to go to a particular side, then you can just adjust it. So I haven't stuck it down completely, so I can maneuver it to wherever I want. So then I'm going to cut those off when I'm happy. So then I'm going to pop these on to here. I'm just going to roughly see where I need to position them before I'm happy to glue it on. Just going to move that there. So that's going to go there. That's the biggest one, so it's going to go over the twine. And then just see if I'm happy with the positioning of all that. So I can put my dimensionals on with it's easier to do it with take your pick tool. And then position that where you think you'd like it to go. Right, just cut this off now. Right, the first one I'm going to stick flat against the surface. I'll just pop that side. And then that is going to be raised. Like that. And then that one can be raised as well. There we go. So then this can be stuck onto here. So just get your glue. Pop it on the front. Make sure it's stuck down nicely. I love this designer series paper because it just looks like sand and it's got the texture in it already. So there we go. The other thing to do is to put some embellishments on. And these are opal rounds, and they are just like pearlized little embellishments, but they've got a bit of sparkle in them. I wouldn't say sparkle, I'd say some sort of glimmer, and they look like water droplets when you pop them down onto this sand. So beautiful. And they're not quite round, you know, they're not uniform as such. And then I've got a little insert that I'm going to decorate like that. So that's 2 centimeters by 14.4, so it fits exactly onto here. So just gonna glue that down, and it's just something that if you've got a scrap of paper you can use it up. There we go. And then what I have done is I've just put a little sentiment in there. So going to use the same. Wishing you the very best. So just going to mount that onto a block 2, which will, making sure it's straight. These are good because they're photopolymer ones, so you can see exactly where you're stamping. So there we go. And then you can pop that in. And again, this is all 1/2 centimetre border around the edge, and you can flatten that down when you're happy with your bone folder. And that's your first card done. Okay, so let's tidy this up a bit, and I will show you what to do for the next one. So the next one, we have got a bit of watercolouring to do, which is very exciting. So with this one, we are going to use all sorts. So we're going to use some fluid 100 paper. We're going to use stamp pad. We're going to use these inks and some water painters. So what I did for this is I did a background watercolour. Now we've got these water painters which are lovely, and they are in the annual catalogue here. So you get water painters, and it holds three painters, 1 fine tip, a medium tip and a large flat brush tip. So, and that's for $11.25. And what I've done is I've used the colours that I would like to use in my watercolouring on the paper. So I've used Bermuda Bay and So Saffron. So basically these ink pads, they're water-based dyes, and when they dry up we choose the same colour ink to re-ink them, and that's exactly what this is. So what I'm going to do is, or what I've done already, is I've used the thick end tape and the medium tip, and I put 5 drops of each into this little chamber, and then filled it up with water. And we're going to see what happens. Right, so I've cut this to 14.4 by 10.5 because that is I want a little border basically. So the other thing is to make your water paper a slightly damp, so I'm just going to spritz it with some water. Actually, I'm just going to put some kitchen towel down, otherwise I'm going to get wet everywhere. So just going to spritz that with water, only because it just holds on, the inks hold on to the paper, flow onto the paper a bit better. So obviously I want the blue at the top. So you've got this little pen, and then you've got, if you push down there, it's got a little chamber. So it's got a little chamber. If you push it down, the inks come flowing down into there. So I'm going to push down and it's going to put a little blob on there, and then colour my surface with it. Oh, hello Let. Oh, hi Sue. Thank you for joining me. And then I've got the So Saffron, and I'm going to do that again. Push it down. And that is my sand. It's quite fun doing the watercolour. So when you're happy with the colour, if you want more colour, just press it on again, and then you get, when you're happy with the colour, you can then dry it off. You can actually leave it to dry naturally, or for speed I'm going to use my heat tool. Usually used for embossing, but this comes in handy when you're in a hurry. Oh, thank you Sue, thank you for the comment. I love this Sand and Sea Sweet. I think thankfully it's carrying over to the annual catalogue, because I don't think I've used it enough, and it's lovely because it just reminds you of summer, doesn't it? So that is dry really. Yep. So there we go. So then cut my card base, which I have actually used Coastal Cabana. While that's drying a bit more, I can cut my card base. Now this is a portrait style card, so I'm going to score it at 14.9. Nope, sorry, got that wrong. I'm going to score it at 10.5 on the short side at the top, and then cut it at 14.9. I think I'm going to need this one now. Oh, I know. They're all so tempting, aren't they? I'm the same, so I can't moan. Right, so then just going to mount that on to here. But again, if you look at what I've done, I've got a lovely embossing folder. Now I'm going to show you how to do that. So the embossing folder we will do first. So this is the embossing folder. And it's a beautiful imprint of all these lovely seashells and seaweed and all sorts, and that is what it's like. It's sort of raised area and a sort of indentation where it goes in. So you're then going to put your good side onto the indented side, if that's a word, because you're going to squash it together, put it through the embossing folder, and it's going to come up as a lovely imprint on there. So we are going to get my Stampin' Emboss machine. So that I need, on the main, for an embossing folder, it says the 3D embossing folders use 1 and 4 plates. So that's number 1, this is number 2. And I'm going to get my paper, and this is part of the designer series paper. I'm going to put that inside and make sure I've got it the right way. So I want it, so the good side is this way. So I'm going to squeeze it in between, and then hope I don't shake the camera too much, but there we go. So you get this lovely embossed image. Isn't that amazing? Love that. So then the actual die cut of this, the die cutter, or I should say the die, this cuts it out perfectly. If you pop that on there, it will cut everything out for you, and that is what is so lovely. So, but you need different plates for this. So you need 1, 2 and 3, 2 lots of 3s. So I'm going to pop that on there. Now, in order to make sure that that's going to stick into place, got some little sticky post-it notes. I'm just going to have to come off camera, I think, to see where to stick this properly, because I need to get this right. I think that is correct, and it will cut through the post-it notes because it's so thin. It just is handy because it keeps it all in place. So there we go, ready to cut. Oh, I think I can feel that shaking. Sorry about that. So that will come off. And then it's cut out perfectly. Just slowly take it off. There we go. I'm just going to put this to one side or on the floor. And the last minute bits, if there is any last bits to come through. And there we go. I'm sure you can see that on camera, but it's lovely because it takes the actual texture from the actual pieces of the paper as well. So, and then you can mount it on there. And what I have done here is I've actually cut this one in crumb cake, I think. On crumb cake card I've actually stamped it on, and then I've put it into the embossing folder. So for this I am just going to use a die, I think, for this one. So I'm just getting all my bits together. So I need another piece of white cardstock, and then I need happy birthday to my beautiful friend. If I can find it. There we go. that onto a block. Does it fit? No, need a big block now. Now I've just dropped it. Bigger block, pop that down, see if it's straight. And I'm going to stamp it with Bermuda Bay. These are that's the colour I used in the watercolour. Such a beautiful colour, so I just want to pick that up onto there. Then I've used my go-to Stitch So Sweetly dies, which are just amazing. I've used them all the time, and that will fit perfectly over there. You then put that through your cut and emboss machine, which I have already done one, and you can mount it onto there like that. So again, you need some twine and some dimensionals. I want to raise this up because it gives you that sort of 3D effect. Oh, Kim, hi. Oh, that's nice. Thank you for joining me. Can't stop for long. No, that's fine. I understand people are working, but the video is saved in the group if you want to catch up later. So I completely understand that people have to work, but it's quite nice to just watch and catch up later if you want to know how to do all this. This week I'm just showing you different techniques, different things, and trying to choose all things sort of summery, because we've got some lovely summer weather, and to make the most of it really. There we go. So stick that on. You can see that it's got a lovely sort of raised areas. So then I'm going to put my twine on. Make sure that that is that's not quite. Let's just trim this down before I get too caught up in it. Right, so I don't know why that's not 14.4. I thought it was. Let's trim the bottom down. I obviously cut that wrong, so that's 14.4. So there we go. Let's carry on. I'm going to put the twine around. I'm going to do that double. Oh, Terry, hello from Colorado. Wow, thank you for joining me. I'm sure you've got great weather out there, as we have here. But ours is often short-lived, so I have to make the most of it really. Once we have it, and it's beautiful. So there we go. So adjust your bow, and you can pop it to one side. There we go. And chop it off. Right, so I'll just see where this is going to go, whether I'm happy with it. Yep. So I will put these on dimensionals as well. So that will just pop onto there, straight, that's it. I quite like the movement in this. I don't want it all stuck down. It's quite nice to have that sort of movement on there. So then I'm happy with that. I'm going to stick that down. Pop that onto here. I need my bone folder. The Fluid 100 card is obviously a thicker sort of card to absorb the water, so it just needs a little bit more glue to stick it down, make sure it's well stuck. So there we go. So then inside, just got my little insert somewhere. So, and I've got a little border in there, but I'm not going to put a border in there this time. So there we go. We've got 2 cards, one using minimal supplies, using the lovely Sand and Sea Suite. The first card is very simple, using minimal supplies, even though there's a lot to it. The second card has been stepped up using the embossing folder, the dies, the stamps and some watercolouring with inks. I forgot to put my embellishments on there, but obviously you get the picture, and that just brings it out a little bit more. So this will all be uploaded to my YouTube channel, Danny Design Studio, and if you subscribe to that, you'll be sent notifications of when I upload new videos. All of the products are in the description bar within this if you're interested, and if you purchase anything on my online shop for £20 or more, I will send you, for this month, I'll send you these lovely note cards and envelopes. Great quality cards. This will all be for free. And there's 20 in there, so it's really great to have this in your stash if you want to do a quick sort of card. So join me again tomorrow as we will be doing some more sort of summary projects and learning some new techniques. So thank you for joining me today, and happy stamping!